Hundreds of Londoners came out in support of Palestine this weekend as the war continues between Israel and Hamas. Humanitarian aid has started trickling into Gaza as the bombing continues. Israeli tanks and troops remain poised for a ground invasion. To talk about how this is impacting the Palestinian community here at home, we're joined by Nihal Al-Tarhoni, the president of the Canadian Palestinian Social Association. Hi, Nihal. It's great to have you.
Good morning, Andrew.
So can you give us a sense of what it was like at Victoria Park yesterday?
There were thousands of people at Victoria Park yesterday from all walks of life. It was probably one of the most diverse rallies I've ever been to. There were a lot of Palestinians, a lot of Arabs, a lot of Muslims, Christians. There were people from the Sikh community, Black, Indigenous communities, a lot of Palestinian allies there, a lot of people who care about human rights and wanted to be there to express that they are frustrated with the government response and to push for a ceasefire.
What do you think has drawn so many people out? Why do you think it was such a big gathering at the park yesterday?
Well, the sheer magnitude of what's happening in Gaza right now, and I'm going to just correct you there when you said that there's a war between Israel and Hamas. It's an attack on all of the people of Gaza. It's a collective punishment. Hamas does not represent all of the Palestinian community. And of course, what's happening is not only targeting Hamas when we're talking about what's happening in Gaza and the thousands of people that have been killed. Gaza is a strip that is smaller than London, Ontario, with 4 times the population of London, Ontario, half of which are children. All of them have the water, food, and fuel cut to them in a collective punishment. So London being London and the average Londoner knowing and feeling for the other humans on the other side of the world, thousands have come up to the park in order to protest and to say that not in our name, we need a ceasefire now. We need the humans in Gaza to have access to food, water, and medicine, just like any other human, on the face of Earth.
What are you hearing from members of London's Palestinian community through this?
There are hundreds of families that have loved ones who are stuck, who cannot evacuate the strip. So they're feeling a lot of fear, a lot of frustration. Some have already lost family members during the attacks. There are also a lot of Palestinian allies in the city who are feeling the frustration of being targeted with anti-Palestinian hate and anti-Palestinian racism, and that is happening in the city. But in general, there's a lot of frustration from all sides, and there's a sense of disappointment in our government's response, including politicians here in London, Ontario.
How is that targeting happening of people, of Palestinians here in London?
Yeah, it's happening in person and online. So there's a lot of bigotry online, a lot of people calling anybody who speaks out regarding the attacks in Gaza as a terrorist sympathizer. Some of the politicians have come up and on the news said that any rally that is happening, any protest that is happening is a celebration of hate, which is not true. A lot of family members of mine and friends of mine have reported incidents that are happening in schools or places of work where they feel isolated or singled out or even called names for even wearing something that is cultural, like what you're seeing me wear, the Palestinian scarf, and being attacked for it.
Do you have any personal experience?
At my place of work, I had an online comment made on my personal business page calling me a terrorist sympathizer and needing to be exposed to my client as such. My mom, who works at Victoria Hospital, was attacked for just wearing a hijab while she was actually attending to her work. Her line of work is translating for patients. So she got attacked by a random lady just because she was wearing a hijab, again, called a Hamas sympathizer for wearing a hijab. My sister in the last rally was attacked in front of her kids in the middle of the street, again, for just wearing the hijab without saying anything or doing anything. So there's a huge rise of both Islamophobia and anti-Palestinian hate in London, which is very unfortunate.
So then what kind of conversations now are you having within your community?
So first and foremost, we're supporting people who are going through incidents like this in order to make sure that they get the right resolution for these incidents, be it in school or places of work and such. The second layer is supporting the community members who are going through trauma and collective grief over lost loved ones, or if they're having family members who are stuck in the Strip, helping them through political channels to try and get their family members out of the Strip. As well as providing psychotherapy and mental health support for the members of the community that are going through grief, that are going through survivor's guilt, that are going through a lot of this anti-Palestinian hate sentiment that they're receiving, be it at work or at schools or in the larger community.
What do you make of the response from our various levels of government?
It can be a lot better, for sure. We're definitely disappointed. We are happy to see that a lot of the members of parliament have signed on to a ceasefire now agreement to push the government, to push the to push the prime minister, to ask for that. There are members of the politicians that have not done that, and that has been very disappointing and quite disrespectful for our community, to be honest.
What do you hope to see from Londoners as this continues?
I would like to see them be kind. I would like to see them reach out to their Palestinian or Arab or Muslim neighbor or classmate and just say, I don't know what's happening out there in that part of the world. It's confusing. Nobody expects the average Londoner to be an expert on foreign relations. But we do expect our neighbors, we do expect our classmates to be kind and to just reach out and say, hey, I know you're going through something that is terrible, that is unfortunate, and I'm still your neighbor. I'm still your classmate. I'm still your fellow Canadian in humanity. We share the same values, and we appreciate you, and we welcome you here in order for that division that is happening to stop happening.
Nihal, thank you for joining us this morning.
You're welcome. Thank you, Andrew.
Nihal Al-Tarhoni, the president of the Canadian Palestinian Social Association.